It's my pleasure now to introduce you to an organization that may not have the name recognition of EPA and DEC, but which is doing incredibly important work on air quality, and that is our friends at the Environmental Health Project. We're delighted to have with us Nathan Diron, the Program Manager for Environmental Health Project. So Nathan, it's all yours.
Thank you, Doug. Thanks, everyone. It is great to be here, and thank you, Doug, for having us. As Doug said, my name is Nathan Diron. I am the Program Manager at the Environmental Health Project. Today, I'll be sharing with you details about how our organization conducts air quality monitoring with communities in New York State and beyond. So I'll give you a brief introduction to our organization this afternoon, talk about our monitoring framework and how it is a bit different from our government regulators, talk about the technologies that we use, as well as the use of the results that we generate. So as some of you may know, but many of you maybe don't, EHP is a public health nonprofit organization that provides wide-ranging support to communities impacted by oil and gas development. We started out in McMurray, Pennsylvania, here in southwestern PA, back in 2012, and now provide services to impacted communities around the country, as you can see here. We seek to support communities in understanding the exposures and risks generated by oil and gas development and engage in policy dialogues at the local, state, and national levels regarding the public health implications of oil and gas activities. That support includes environmental monitoring, data and research interpretation, health impact assessment support, and public health guidance. The strength of our organization lies in our direct contact with community members, learning about their circumstances and responding to their needs for relevant information and guidance. In New York, since we began our first monitoring project in the state in 2014, we've worked with communities in 13 different counties, around 12 different gas compressor stations, and 2 gas-fired power plants. I really want to highlight the fact that we are working with communities, right? We regularly have community organizations or simply residents of communities that are working with us to conduct this monitoring and do this work. We can't do our work without buy-in and support from the community. So diving a bit more into the actual framework we use for monitoring, we, as I said, differ a bit in how we approach this from the regulators. Primarily, we conduct monitoring with communities around specific facilities or groups of facilities that the community is concerned about. Also, we focus on facilities specifically related to the oil and gas sector, as opposed to the many other types of air pollution emitters that have been covered today. We also work to characterize short-term pollution events in communities, events that may be too short to show up well in annual or daily averages that are often utilized by regulators and national ambient air quality standards. In addition to characterizing those events, we also look to identify potential sources of pollution events for our community partners. So diving a bit into the technologies here, to conduct this work, we tend to rely on low-cost monitoring technologies, which have been touched on briefly here this afternoon. We regularly deploy Purple Air PM2.5 monitors in communities to measure fine particulate matter, as well as total volatile organic compound sensors. We strive to make sure this data is as high quality as it can be, for instance, complying with EPA quality standards for siting and conducting a variety of quality assurance procedures on our data to ensure that what we're getting out of these low-cost sensors is as high quality as it can be. One important aspect of the purple air monitors that's also already been touched on a bit is this map that they provide and the ability of residents to check their PM2.5 AQI values in real time on this easily viewed interactive online map. And in this case, using the EPA's correction factor. This allows for rapid access to incredibly nearby air quality readings for concerned community members. You know, if they're smelling something strange or they're worried about, you know, should I let my kid go outside right now? They have this resource that is going to be able to provide them a bit of insight. We also use TVOC monitors, total volatile organic compound monitors, from a southwestern Pennsylvania company called AirViz that utilize metal oxide sensors. However, multiple companies out there now make these sorts of monitors these days. These sensors return a single value for all volatile organic compounds. This is a diverse group of gaseous compounds with a wide range of effects on human health, from relatively harmless to incredibly dangerous. So it is much more difficult with this kind of data to say what reading constitutes a health burden. However, with these monitors, we're able to measure changes in VOC levels over time. And this is particularly important when monitoring around oil and gas facilities, as this sector emits a large amount of primary VOCs. But coming back to this slide and the others listed here, at times we have access to other monitoring technologies that allow us to generate higher quality data measuring a wider array of air pollutants. Specifically here, I want to highlight the SPODs listed here that we've just started deploying as part of EPA air monitoring grants in EPA regions 3 and 5. The SPOD is a great device developed by EPA's Office of Research and Development that utilizes a continuous PID sensor to measure total volatile organic compounds, and then trigger the collection of a SUMA canister whenever a given TVOC threshold is reached or surpassed. A SUMA canister is basically a stainless steel ball that then gets filled with air and shipped off to an EPA certified lab for analysis using EPA reference method TO15. This analysis returns concentrations of individual VOCs, so not that total VOC number, allowing us to communicate more accurately and specifically about health impacts from VOC pollution events in the communities where we monitor. We're very excited to get these out into more communities in the future. So how do we use this data, right? The data we generate has a wide variety of uses, but it's always to meet the needs of the communities we work with and the needs that they have communicated to us, right? We provide data for these uses in both real-time and near real-time formats, as well as in regular written reports for community use. So in the midst of pollution events, we can provide alerts to community members on purple air monitors through a technology, an app actually called AirWin, which we did not develop, but is available free to use, which allow community members to set up their own alerts based on those very nearby PM2.5 monitors and whatever AQI level they may deem important to themselves, right? We are working to develop similar alerts for SPOD monitors. We are also providing the ability for quick analysis through our AirView analysis dashboard. So I'm about to show you some example analysis that we create. All of it comes from our dashboard, and we at EHP use this tool regularly, but we also train community members on the use of this tool, which means that community partners with concerns can quickly look up this analysis. They don't have to wait for our office to be open or for one of our regular written reports, right? So we provide community members with summary statistics about their air quality readings, which can be compared within their community to different monitors, to other communities where we conduct monitoring, and to applicable air quality standards. We do make sure to communicate clearly the fact that national ambient air quality standards cannot be applied to these monitoring technologies, but provide those comparison points as those standards are well known and well understood. We also provide weather and seasonal analysis to show communities what different situations are associated with increased average levels of monitored pollutants. For instance, here we can see PM 2.5 levels in Dover, New York, both by season and time of day, with a clear pattern of higher levels on average at night and higher average PM 2.5 levels during the summer in this community. We provide information on a variety of weather conditions as well. In this example, cloud cover. This allows us to convey the association between weather and air quality and the size of that association. For example, here we see overcast cloud conditions associated with slightly elevated PM 2.5 readings in this community. We also use our air quality data to identify potential local sources of emissions. For many years, we have looked at readings in conjunction with wind speed and wind direction to identify potential drivers of the highest readings collected by our monitor networks. For example, this graphic here shows that this gas-fired power plant at this marker down here is a plausible source for the highest total volatile organic compound readings collected at the two pictured monitoring sites in Dover, New York. We also couple our air quality monitoring with pollution dispersion modeling, specifically the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's high-split model. This allows us to identify the path taken by a particular air parcel associated with elevated monitor readings, meaning we can estimate the path that air pollutants took to reach the monitor that read it. This allows us to dive into individual pollution events and identify potential sources of each different event. Lastly, where possible, we analyze associations between facility activities and community air quality levels. Usually, this is only possible around power plants where we have hourly activity data from the EPA Clean Air Markets Program data. For instance, in this example, we can see there's a positive association between the number of active turbines at the Cricket Valley Energy Center in Dover and the VOC levels recorded at all 4 monitoring locations in the surrounding community. This is often the clearest way we have available to us to communicate the impact of a given facility. So that was a lot. I was trying to be succinct so we can get to questions. Please feel free to reach out to me in the future. Here's my information. And you can also find out more information about EHP's work in air quality monitoring at environmentalhealthproject.org/air.